Hi, I'm Kristen Keating. I'm a first-year MA student in our Master's Theater History and Criticism program. I'm just finishing up my first year now, and this year has been a lot of academic work, but also some production work that I've been doing. This past fall, I took my first course in dramatic structures, as well as an introduction to master's research and master's program. And this semester I've continued on in dramatic structures too, as well as taken my first dramaturgy course, which has started to really get me into the production aspects of our program. Dramatic structures, I'm coming from a English background, English literature, and so most of the study that I had done in theater had been from the text perspective, and dramatic structures with Professor Swanson has really opened my eyes up onto how texts come alive on stage. In Dramaturgy 1, we've covered the history of dramaturgy both in Europe and in America, and as dramaturgy is still a really recent addition to American theater, we've talked a lot about what's going on, today in the country and key dramaturgs that are working across the country right now. We've also really explored all the different facets of dramaturgy, such as new play development, or even working on classic plays, how to work with all the different people involved in the theater, the playwrights, the directors. What really we spent a lot of time discussing what the dramaturg's place is in the theater and what the potentials for the dramaturg are. I've also been working on productions with our MFA directors here, where I've actually gotten a chance to work with text, to cut scripts, to sit in the rehearsal room, to give notes, and things like that. Right now I'm working on a production of Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus with one of our MFA directors. I started meeting with him back in November to really go over the script, because what we need to do was cut it down into production that could run in about an hour. And so we talked about what his vision was for the piece, and what we could cut, what we need to do to the script in order to make that happen. So we met several times in the fall to go through the script. I also started doing my own research at that time. I did a lot of extensive research on medieval and Renaissance Europe. The director I was working with has had me really involved in the process, which has been great because I've really gotten to really be involved in all aspects of the production. And so I sat in on the casting, gave feedback on that. And I've been going to the rehearsals for the production about once or twice a week, also to give feedback. At the beginning of the rehearsal process, I met with the cast to kind of give them the background of the essentials that I thought that they needed to know for the production. And right now, we're about to go into Tech Week, and it goes up this weekend, and I think it looks great. One of my favorite things about the dramaturgy program here, and in terms of our work that we do with the other master's students, the directors, the actors, is that it's really more of a collaborative process. In the work that I've done on the productions here, I haven't felt like I've just been, shuffled off to the library to do research. I've really been involved actively involved in cutting the script, in casting, really making decisions, really involved in the rehearsals. And I've really felt like that is a experience that's really cultivated here at Catholic University, so that everything is really a collaborative, dynamic process and environment. Well, I came into this program as a high school English teacher, and one of my favorite things to do as a high school English teacher was to involve my students in getting up and acting out, the works of Shakespeare, because I realized how much more fun and how much more dynamic that made reading and reading these classic texts for them. And so even when I was doing theatrical works, I would still really try to involve them as much as possible in using theater to really explore text. And it really brought me back to my love for theater, which I've always had all my life. I acted in high school and in the community, and I've just always really loved theater, and I decided I need to come back to it. When I was initially looking at graduate programs, one of the key deciding factors for me was my initial interview with Dr. Patrick Tewitt, who is my advisor now. And immediately on our first meeting, he took a lot of interest in me and what my research interests were and what I wanted to do with dramaturgy. And since I've been in the program, he's really been an incredibly supportive advisor. Any questions that I have, he's immediately available to meet with me and talk about them. So after my first year in the program here, where I've been gaining a lot of background and academic background in theater as well as practical experience, this summer I have an internship at the Shakespeare Theater Company in Washington, D.C., where I will be doing research for their next year's productions, which is an experience I'm really excited about. And next year I'll finish up the MA program here at Catholic. I'm planning on applying into PhD programs in the fall because I still do really enjoy teaching, and I would like to be a professor. I love the university environment, but I would also like to continue doing dramaturgy work. The experiences that I've had here working on productions have really cemented in my mind that this is something that I really love to do.